A dairy barn, a sanctuary, a headache, a dream. It now sits in varying stages of disrepair, but the bones are still good. We can't afford to lose it. The only way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time. And I'm hungry. Like many things in farm life, there are certain tasks that tend to get delegated until the very last minute, or until it finally becomes so big it's unavoidable. One such project is the pig pen. We raise wiener pigs in the summertime to butcher in the fall, and our pig pen setup has always been a source of consternation. So I am attempting to refurbish this space and make it usable. The farm this barn sits on was homesteaded in the 1940s, long before my family ever got here. Through years of hard work and persistence, the family cleared about 100 acres of field, another roughly 20 acres for a house, and of course, the land that this barn currently sits on. In the 1960s, my uncle made a decision that would ultimately change the rest of our lives. He arrived in Anchorage, Alaska with the intention of bicycling around the state. His journeys led him to Delta Junction, where he found the Shaw Creek Meadows Dairy. He asked the store clerk where this dairy was located, and they pointed them to Shaw Creek. He forged a bond with the family that would later lead the matriarch, Bobby Fowler, to offering him a piece of land so that he could build a Christian boys' camp. His decision to accept this offer would also open doors for my parents to show up here. By the time my parents arrived in 1989, the farm was largely condemned. Every single building, including hay sheds, which why would you condemn a hay shed, but whatever, were condemned by the state of Alaska. Also, the property did not have running water or electricity. At least the houses didn't. Despite having 3 young children and not much money, they persisted. They rebuilt the farm, and they reinstated Shaw Creek Meadows Dairy. They ran the dairy throughout the 90s until the early 2000s, when the entire Alaska dairy industry collapsed in one fell swoop. By this point, I had been born, and so this led my parents, with 2 kids still at home, so they pivoted. This now meant that our farm income was, and still is, largely produced off-farm. The barn has largely become a storage shed. Sure, it's housed animals from time to time, but it's fairly inefficient. The things that make it a great dairy barn kinda make it difficult to be useful for anything else in some cases. Not to mention that it desperately needs its electrical system to be completely redone, parts of the roof need to be repaired before you lose it, and just a host of other things that need to happen before it's really truly functional and efficient. Finally, we get to the fun part. Now that I've spent the last 2 days cleaning out this pigsty, now I have to build it. I want you to think about the smartest person you know. Got it? Alright, pigs are at least 5 times smarter. They are pure muscle, and they are designed to burrow. Well, not burrow in the sense like they're going to burrow underground, but, root. They're designed to root. Because of this deadly combination of brains, brawn, and sheer determination, I have to fortify this pen in ways that I would never do for a cow. That means using heavy panels, like the ones I'm using here, and making sure that they can't burrow under it. Fortunately, one good thing about this pen is that it's on a concrete pad, so there's really no way that they can get under it. However, that doesn't mean that if I were to secure the panels poorly that they couldn't push under it. Last year, the pen that we had them in had a fatal flaw. We were using these same panels, but we didn't have it all the way to the ground, and the concrete pad didn't come all the way out. So between the poop that was already present, and the dirt, and the fact that the panel wasn't sitting completely flush with the ground, the pigs got out, and I spent 2.5 hours running through the Alaskan woods trying to catch this stupid pig. And when I say stupid, it's not stupid. I was stupid. Needless to say, I don't wish to repeat that. Another factor in all this is that the panels at least are going to be temporary. While this pen does need to be basically rhinoceros proof, I also have to make it so that it's not impossible for me to just unscrew things and move the panels when I need them to move. This is why you see me using those thin metal strips. They look flimsy, but they're actually incredibly strong and they're easy to unscrew. And with that, we are now ready to move the piggies in. Get one final view of the entire pen. And before anybody says anything, I did wire those two panels together, and the piggies are never going to be able to move that or get out of it. I do consider myself incredibly fortunate to have infrastructure in place that I can fix up, because so many young farmers don't have anything. They have to build things from the ground up, and sometimes that is easier, but it's definitely still time consuming, let alone the costliness of such a project. Well, there's still a lot to do, and certainly this pen isn't finished, not by a long shot. It does make me feel good to have accomplished something and be able to restore the barn to a little bit of its former purpose. And by the way, I cut out about 5 minutes of footage of me running or racing around the barn because the pigs didn't follow my plan. Because that's just how pigs are. Oh my goodness. That's the most stressful part of this entire thing, is moving the pigs. Hi guys! Hey guys, how are ya? Hi! Look at all this room! Look at all this room! So, just gotta get them feed and water, and then we are all done with this. Oh, hallelujah.